Welcome back to the Black Jersey here on YouTube, boys. It's me, Max, hosting the channel, and I've been doing quite a bit of research for this video, which I have attempted to record a few times throughout the season, but I thought, you know what, I'm actually going to save this particular video for the end of the season, so that way I can comprehensively analyze the statistics of Will Jordan, Damian McKenzie, and Jordie Barrett, who I think are the three contenders for the number 15 jersey heading into our mid-year tests. Jordan Barrett is returning from Japan, and let's just say that the top league is not the level of Super Rugby, so I don't expect Bowden to be starting at all, especially because tests against Fiji and Tonga really are needed to develop some new guys. So in this video, I'm going to look through their attacking statistics, their defensive statistics, and of course their discipline, because that's pretty important as well. So without further ado, I've got the attacking statistics for Jordan, McKenzie, and Barrett. So Jordan scored 40 points off his 8 tries, whereas McKenzie scored 124 points with a goal-kicking percentage of 75%, which also included 4 tries. And Jordie Barrett scored 5 tries throughout the season, which was also 140 points, including a 71% goal-kicking ratio. So as you can see, Jordan doesn't really have the option of a boot like the other two, which is already negatively going to go in his favour. However, when you get to the meters run and his average gain, that's always going to be well in Jordan's favour, because Jordan this year ran 525 meters off 91 carries for an average gain of 5.8 meters a carry. You then go over to McKenzie, who made 265 meters off 81 carries, so he only had a gain of 3.3 meters on average. Barrett's average carrying gain was a lot lower as well, so Barrett ran 268 meters off 103 carries for an average gain of 2.6 meters. So Jordie Barrett is getting the ball a lot more than the rest, because the Hurricanes have been far more reliant on Barrett, but because there's no teamwork going on in the Hurricanes for a cohesive unit right now, as I've explained in previous videos, Barrett can't really go through the gaps he's making as much, because there's no one to really support him, whereas McKenzie, he's passing a lot more, as you'll be able to see soon, because McKenzie made 267 passes in comparison to Barrett's 126, so McKenzie's made more than twice as many passes as Barrett, whereas he's probably made nearly 3 times as many as Jordan's, because Jordan only made 94 passes this season. So because the Chiefs have just got so much more teamwork, McKenzie's been used as a real good facilitating runner that's going to get other players into the game, whereas there isn't that trust in the Hurricanes, so it can't really bring out the best of Jordie Barrett's playmaking. Both play 10, whereas Jordie started off in the centres, but gradually he moved to fullback, but for whatever reason, Fozzie seems to think he's a 14. Then when you get to their defenders beaten, Barrett actually beat more defenders than the other two, despite having so many fewer average meters per carry. Jordie Barrett beat 32 defenders across both Super Rugby Aotearoa and Super Rugby Trans-Tasman, whereas McKenzie only beat 24 defenders in comparison to Jordan's 27, but with Jordan's high meter running, that's not really a surprise that he's going to beat 27 defenders. Clean breaks, Barrett also made 9 clean breaks, which is to be expected, though he did make more carries. McKenzie, believe it or not, only made 4 clean breaks. So McKenzie really is becoming a true playmaker, and every now and again he would slot into the 10 channel, especially if Caleb Trask was playing, because Caleb Trask is only 22 and is still finding his footing as a professional athlete. And Jordan made 10 clean breaks, so that's the most of these guys, so kudos to Will Jordan. Based on all this attacking, I really do think Jordan's better on the wing, as I have said in multiple videos, but when you get to the defensive statistics, that actually kind of does make me question if Jordan's a better winger or if he's just a bloody good professional athlete. So Jordan made the most tackles of these guys because the Crusaders for several years have used a cover defense strategy rather than a rush defense strategy. So Jordan's made 56 tackles in comparison to McKenzie's 46 and Barrett's only 37 tackles. Will Jordan missed 13, so he also missed the most, whereas McKenzie missed 11, Barrett missed 12. So Jordan and McKenzie both have tackle percentages of 81%, which is very good, especially because fullback is comparatively a goalie, for example, in football. Like, the fullbacks in New Zealand rugby truly are the goalies of rugby because they are the last man standing there. So to have an 81% tackle ratio, it's just beautiful. Like, it's amazing, isn't it? These guys have just done so well on their defense, and I'm really happy to see it. Whereas Barrett, his defensive abilities aren't as good as those two, but it's still above what I'd like to see. It's at 76%, so if you can have a tackle percentage of above 75%, I'll be happy with that. Same with the goal kicking. Then we get to the turnovers one. These guys actually did make some turnovers this season. Jordan made 3 turnovers, whereas McKenzie and Barrett made 4 turnovers. However, Jordan did concede a lot, because obviously with cover defense, players can be scattered around the field in quite odd places, especially if you're using a 2-2, 3-1, or some kind of ridiculous defensive pattern with the forwards. So Jordan conceded 27 turnovers in comparison to McKenzie's 23 and Barrett's 16. So this is already telling me Barrett is perhaps one of the more intelligent players of these guys, whereas McKenzie and Jordan have got a really good game plan to follow. But when you get into the discipline side of things, things do change a wee bit. It was relatively similar for penalties conceded. Jordan conceded 8 penalties, McKenzie conceded 4 penalties, and Barrett conceded 6 penalties. Jordan was the only of these guys to get a yellow card. I can't actually remember what it was for though, so it must have just been an Aussie ref being the 16th man on the field for one of the Aussie teams. Whereas McKenzie, however, did get a red card. And a lot of people did not agree with that decision, but I fully agreed with it. Even though Nick Berry did not have a good performance as a ref in that match, I think that decision there was absolutely spot on. The thing is, McKenzie, although I cannot show the footage, did have direct contact to the halfback from his opposition team. And when you're making direct contact to the head of an opposition player, there's going to be a couple mitigating factors, but if these factors do not apply, direct contact to the head with force is always going to be a red card, and that's been a rule for 5 years, so thank you very much to World Rugby's chair, Bill Beaumont, for putting in that bill, and it's really good for player safety. I know that some of these hits aren't as bad as others, but hey, this is the only card I think McKenzie's ever received as a professional athlete, so I'm not going to be too harsh on him for receiving it. But in comparison to the All Blacks' game plan, I do not think McKenzie is the best fullback to be starting according to the game plan. Barrett's got a lot more dominance, and the presence he has on the field is a lot more intimidating just because of his raw height. I met him at a game when I was working at one, and he's got to be at least 6'7", because it says he's 6'5", yet here's me with Ofatu'ungafasi, as you can see here, and allegedly these guys are supposed to be the same height according to their pages on allblacks.com. Barrett's a lot more intimidating for defenders and attackers to be looking at. And the thing is, Jordie's not only got a kicking game, but he's got a strong running game, and him and McKenzie can both pass, whereas Jordan's just got so much raw pace. So I do believe Jordan does still belong on the wing, but he is definitely getting used to playing fullback as proven by these statistics. But as I was saying, I do also think Barrett's a better playmaker, as Barrett, although he didn't make as many passes as McKenzie, he did set up more try assists, because Jordan set up 15 tries, McKenzie set up 16, whereas Barrett was setting up 19 try assists. So even though Barrett made half as many passes as McKenzie, he actually made more try assists, and I think that try assist to pass ratio is something that people who are analysing games don't actually talk about enough, because you'll remember that Ngani Laumapi made the most passes of the 12s in Super Rugby Aotearoa and Trans-Tasman, but Anton Leonard-Brown and David Havili had actually made more try assists, as I'd explained in previous videos, and for that reason alone, Jordie just suits the game plan so much more, because for whatever reason, Fozzie wants 2 first fives on the field, but you need to have size and intimidation in that field still. So opt for a playmaker that's also got size, just like Barrett, and I think he's the best person to be starting at 15. Put Jordan at 14, get a power winger at 11, like Whainganuku or Clark when he comes back, have Salisi Rayasi, Jonah Nareki in the wider training squad, and McKenzie for jersey 22. I'll give that a green light any day. So thanks so much for watching the video, guys. I'd really appreciate it if you subscribed so I can get to 1,000 by the end of this month. I'd also love you to like this video and leave a comment on who you would pick at fullback. Cheers for watching, and I'll see you later, okay guys?